So today's class, hopefully you all know what class you registered for, which is how to master selling new homes as a resale agent. So we're talking about new construction homes, specifically to Southern California, California in general. I do have connections in other states for new construction. However, they do have bless you, Amber, they do have a different platform, different processes that they follow in other states that are not the same as what we do here in California. So this content is going to be specific for California. However, if you do have questions about builders in other states, feel free to schedule a one-on-one Zoom with me, and I'd be happy to share that information with you as well. Here's a little bit about me. My name is Wendy. I've been doing real estate for a pretty long time, since 2011. So I've been a licensed realtor. I started with investment properties prior to that. So I do own several properties in Texas, Arizona, California, and I purchased all of them as new construction homes. So that's another class, but it just to tie it into what we're talking about here. So is a little bit about me. The most important thing I want you to, can you all see my screen? Can someone just give me a thumbs up or?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So at the very bottom of the screen, you'll see a link that says chatwithwendy.net. That is where you can schedule one-on-one Zooms with me at that website. So please jot that down so that if you ever need to schedule one-on-one or have questions, things like that, you can use that. You could also see me on social media. Obviously, we connected, most of us connected on Facebook, but I am on Instagram, YouTube as well. So feel free to check us out there. I did spend the last 5 years as a new home sales associate, which was a nice break from my previous roles in real estate. I started as a traditional, agent with Prudential California Realty, which does not exist anymore. But that's where I started my career and built from there, transferred to KW, and had a very successful career as a top producing agent, was on ALC, became a productivity coach, and started training agents exclusively. So I was not in the field any longer. I was doing exclusively productivity coaching. And then I moved on to be a team leader for Keller Williams. And no offense to any of you or myself, but as a team leader, I saw the good, bad, and ugly a little bit deeper than what I saw in, my 100 transactions a year as an individual or a team agent or a productivity coach. And so I just decided that I wanted to take a step back from resale, just because there was so much going on in the market at the time, and the agents, it just wasn't the right fit. So I retired for a year and then was like, well, maybe I should go back and do something fun. And so while I was top producing agent with Keller Williams, I was a new home ambassador. I don't know if any of you guys have that role in your market center at Keller Williams or at any other brokerage that you're with. And so I had a lot of experience with new home construction and everything. And I'm going to kind of go through what I built during that time with my buyers as an individual agent. And then so I went into new home sales for 5 years, and it is all the things that most resale agents think it is. and your marketing's done for you, all of that stuff. And if you guys have questions about that throughout this class, we could talk about that, or one-on-one if that is something that you guys are considering, other than resale. But I highly recommend building a new construction business in your resale business to add value to what you already have going on. And so while I was with Keller Williams, I made amazing, great friends, colleagues, and a lot of them transferred to EXP. And so just last year, they bugged me on a regular basis of, we need you to come back and recruit and train and mentor at EXP. And it just wasn't the right fit for me, but this year it is. And so I transitioned to EXP this year as a recruiter, trainer, team leader. And so that's what I'm doing now. But I have the ability to share the experience that I had in new construction, because I was floored when I was a new construction sales agent, how many resale agents had no idea what the process was, or they would just muck it up, no offense. And so I thought, you know what, this is a great opportunity to connect with other realtors, network, and also share some valuable information about that. So that is, in a nutshell, me. If you have, there's a lot more, but we're going to dive into the class itself. So this class specifically is about selling new homes in addition to whatever you are currently doing in your business. So it's designed to create the framework, or a kind of an overview of what we do, so to build that portion of your business. So it's not to replace what you're already doing, but it is to add another layer to your business and add more value to your clients. Now, one of the cool things is that I have great relationships with most of the local builders in Southern California, but most of the builders are national builders. So especially with the last couple of years, everybody wanting to get out of California, which is not true, obviously, but it feels like it, right? A lot of my colleagues that are in new construction have gone to other states to expand those markets. Right now, Tennessee is a huge market. Texas is an enormous market for new construction. Idaho is still a great big market. So there's quite a few other states where Florida is like booming right now for new construction. So I have relationships with builders in all of those states, and others. So but specifically we're going to be talking about Southern California today, just to be clear on that. And the cool thing is that this is an overview class, but we will have a ongoing class. It's a 6-week class. And in those classes, we're actually going to bring in different representatives from different builders. We have Taylor Morrison, Richmond American, we have TrueMark, we have, who else do I have? Meritage, we have Frontier, we have a whole plethora of the builders that you will see or be able to sell in your market if you're in California. And we'll actually bring them in and you'll get to meet them. And so during that class, in that 6 weeks, we'll take time to dive a little deeper with them, and it will give you an advantage with that. And we'll kind of talk about what that looks like throughout this class. Whoops. Okay, so this is what we're going to go over today. So one, is selling new construction the right fit for you? Questions to consider, the pros and cons. We're going to go over all of that. We're going to go over your website and local builders adding content to your website to drive new construction sales into your business. Meeting with the builders. Not only will you, if you decide to take the ongoing class, I'm also going to give you tools today on how to do that on your own. Questions to ask the builders. We're going to talk about social media and emails in your marketing, and and, specific content in those arenas, and then builder exclusive content, and then where to go from here based on the information that you have today. Okay. Any questions on what we're covering today so far? No, everyone's good. All right, so let's move on. So first question is selling new construction for you? So here's some questions that I feel are important for all of us to ponder when it comes to new construction. One, how soon would you like to get paid? So this question comes up quite frequently when I'm training agents on new construction. And a lot of times agents will tell me that they will steer clear of new construction because they do not want to wait to get paid. The commission, when you're helping a prospect purchase a new construction home, there are times when that commission can be delayed 6 months, 3 months, 9 months from the date that they purchase. And so a lot of times agents want quicker closings, they want quicker commissions, and so they steer their clients away from new construction. If you are in a position where you do not want to have delayed commissions in your business, new construction may not be the right fit for you. You may not want to invest too much time and energy into it if that's not something that you're open to. However, I will tell you that if you implement the tools and resources that we go over today, you do have the opportunity to sell builder quick move-ins. And that means that if a builder has a home that we call them spec, also a spec build, so if the builder releases a phase and say in that phase there's 5 homes and they sell 4 of them, every builder has a different calculation that they use to determine if they're going to have spec homes or not. So just in general, I'm just speaking in general at this point, builders, if they have a phase of 5 and 4 of them sell before they break ground, they will proceed with breaking ground, even though there's one that isn't sold. And then that home will turn into a spec home where the builder will start choosing the options or selecting the options for it all the way through until a buyer comes and purchases. And then at that point, the buyer can take over in that process. For some builders, they just spec it all the way through, and what you see is what you get. So it depends on, the builder, but that's a spec home. So now if that spec home is scheduled to close within 30 days and you sell it to your buyer, then there's, a 30-day close. So, and the other way you're going to get the opportunity for a spec home is on models. When they sell the models, and we'll talk about that. Amber, there's some models going for sale in Calamasa near you. Pretty soon they're having a broker that I will share with you that are, models. They're ready, they're 30-day close, bring them in, write them up, and you get paid. So new home construction is not necessarily not the right fit if you don't want to sell dirt lots. You can find the quick move-ins. However, in this current market, quick move-ins aren't as easy to come by. So, that's a decision that you'll have to make in your own business. If the other question is if you enjoy adding additional commission to your revenue months in advance. So one of the things that I really liked about selling new construction is every year, right in November, Q4, you sit down and you do the next year's goals, right? You figure out what's your GCI, what are your expenses, how many, transactions do you need to do per year, per month, and how much activity do you need to do in order to reach that goal? Well, with new home construction, if you implement the system that we're going to go over today, you can start adding additional commissions or additional sales months in advance into your business plan. So, I just sold a October closing this month. Last month I sold a July closing. So that's one more commission on the plate that I don't have to make, make 10 phone calls, schedule an appointment, go on a listing appointment, so on and so forth. It's already there. And I just have to cultivate that relationship and work through the system that we're going to talk about today. So if you like the idea of doing that, then this is definitely a good fit for you. And if you're looking to build longevity in your business, this is a great fit for you. When you, especially if you work by referral, which I am a big proponent of, the time that in traditionally or on, let's say on average, because you'll have some quick move-ins and you'll have some dirt lots that you sell. So on average, you're going to have an ongoing transaction with a buyer for on average about 4 months. So in that average time frame, that gives you the opportunity to check in on them every single week, connect with them, go walk the lot with them, take pictures with them. All of these things, you become like family to them, and you have the opportunity to ask for referrals every time you connect with them throughout that process. Where if you're doing a quicker move in or, in a traditional resale 30-day, you're so hyper focused on the transaction itself that sometimes you miss out on the opportunity to build a deeper relationship, one, and two, have those opportunities to ask for referrals because you're still in their life for the moment, right? Helping them through this one particular transaction. So it does really help build longevity in your business because those referrals that come from those buyers can last a lifetime. So any questions on any of that? No? All right, moving on. So let's talk about the pros and cons of selling a new construction. Let's talk about the pros first. So you may not, if you follow the process I'm going to give you, you may not have to show any homes to a potential buyer. I know that sounds absolutely crazy in this particular market, but it is 100% true. The last 2 new construction sales that I did, I haven't even gone to the sales office. So once you build relationships with the builders, you can take advantage of those and you will be able to work off of that relationship with the builder. So that's an awesome pro, saves you a ton of time. And then everything is systematic. You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time. The builders have their own processes, their own procedures, and they've been doing this for years. And so you just have to follow along. You don't have to, be the expert. You don't have to, if things come up that you have no idea what the answer is, don't try to answer it. Just point them in the direction of the builders representatives, because they're the ones that are trained in it. And you're only getting paid a referral fee. And that's, I think, the biggest misconception for resale agents is that when you sell a new construction home, they're paying you a referral fee. You are not writing up RPA, you're not doing disclosures, you're not doing all of that. So you get, way less paperwork, right, with your broker. And you can defer those difficult questions that normally you would have to figure out or be the expert on. You can defer them back to the builder because that's their job. And then as I was talking about previously, you have time to build stronger relationships, and you also get to enjoy more referrals through the process because you have the time to do that. The key to that is just making sure that you ask for those referrals during the process. And sometimes it's like, hey, do you want to invite your family to come and see the model that you purchased? And then you bring a bottle of champagne, or you bring and make it fun and exciting, and they invite their family, and then you get to meet them personally because they're excited to show off what they are in the process of building, and you help them do that, and you get to benefit from building those relationships. All right. Now, the cons, and some of them we talked about already, but the biggest thing that you need to know is that some builders do not cooperate with resale agents. So you need to make sure that you follow this process that we're going to talk about today, to make sure that you know what that is. Also, keep in mind that that can change. So some builders today, if you called them and ask them if they have a broker co-op, they would say, no, we're not paying a broker co-op. We have no, referral fee, no, nothing. And then you call them again next Monday, that might be completely different. So don't completely write off builders that aren't currently offering, a broker co-op, because that does change regularly. If you end up taking the more advanced builder class, one of the tools that we give you is an updated list, weekly list of what that looks like in the Southern California market. And so you don't have to go out and do that research yourself. We have that. But if you are gonna, go on and do it on your own, it's part of the system that I'm going to give you today. You just need to do that research and know that answer before you go and send your buyers there. And as well as, if that's the only product, new construction in the area that meets your buyer's needs, of course, you don't want to hold them back from buying what works for their family based on, our commission. So that is the downside, that there is a chance that if you're showing new construction that you may not get paid a buyer's commission. But if you're selling their house or whatever the case may be, so you'll still be their agent. You will possibly have to wait for your payday. We kind of talked about that, on average, it's about 4 months. And then the price is usually not negotiable. So one of the things that is a big misconception in new construction sales for resale is that buyers will feel like if they bring their agent in, that their agent can negotiate for them like they would on a resale home. And that is not the case. The builders set their price. Now, there are times, again, this can change from builder to builder, and it can also change over time. But for the most part, the pricing is not negotiable. There are times when builders go into a season of, or will accept offers on a specific home site. Maybe that home site hasn't sold and it's supposed to close within a month, or whatever the case may be. Then in those cases, they may be willing to negotiate. So it's a good thing to ask, but know that usually it's not negotiable. And then you have to abide by the builder's policies and procedures. And I know that can be very, very frustrating for us resale agents who, make our own rules and do our own thing. But the builders are very, very specific about what they are able to do. I just want you to know that this is not a bad thing. If anything, it deflects the responsibility onto the builder. And so our job as resale agents is just to partner. We want to partner with the agents at the builder and reiterate what it is that will help your buyers have a successful buying process. Okay. But those are some of the cons that come along with selling new construction. Does anybody have any questions or want to add anything to that? No? All right. Go. Okay. Okay, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of the process. So marketing is the key to becoming a new home construction specialist in your area. So let me see if I can. There we go. Everyone should have a website, right? I mean, if your broker's not providing you with a website, please call me. But everybody should have a website. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be fancy. It just needs to be some type of website, landing page, so on and so forth. On your website, you should have a search engine, component to it where your clients can search homes, right? Resale homes. That information is coming from the MLS. And most builders typically do not market their home sites on the MLS. They do, however, if they have something that they're having a difficult time selling, then they will. And some builders do try to get at least one of each floor plan on the MLS so that it's out there, but it doesn't have the content or the details that it would if it was a resale home on the MLS. So a lot of, I know that MLS has like a new builder tool kit situation going, and that's a good way to kind of touch base, but on like what's happening in new construction. However, not all the builders utilize it. So you don't have all the content there. And then so you're kind of stuck if you've gone to builders' websites. They're not very good. And they're just not like user friendly. They're not great to navigate. A lot of times they're not up to date. I mean, there's just so many things. They're getting better, especially when COVID happened. All the builders started diving into their online content and started doing a better job with it, but they're still not great. So where do you go? So that is something that we will dive deeper into on our extended class. However, you can look at mine webpage. You all have the ability for free to set up a builder directed website that has, now again, not all of the builders participate, but a lot of them do. So mine is modelhomesearch.net. You guys are welcome to take a look at it. And you guys all have the ability to build a very similar website for free that will drive traffic, new construction traffic. And so the point of this is having the ability to, or the tool or the resources to give your buyers to add new construction to your current business. So if let's say you get a referral, let's say you have a current client, you're doing your calls or whatever, and they reach out to you and say, hey, Dave, my brother's looking for a property. He wants to be in the Marietta. He wants to be, close to the school, such and such, or he wants to be in the city of, Riverside, like whatever, wherever. This website that you set up, you can call that prospect, right? Introduce yourself, go through the normal routine that you would go with them, buyer's consultation. But in that consultation, you're now going to ask, are you open to purchasing new construction home? It's very rare that somebody would say no. I have had some, prospects say, no, that seems like too much work. Okay, that's okay. You still want to set them up on your new construction website, because a lot of times people don't know what to expect with new construction. And if they go onto the website and they look at it, they may see something that they actually like, and that may be the direction they decide to go. And the important element of it is that you only get paid as their agent and as a referral fee if you're the procuring cause as to why they end up buying that particular house. So having a website that has that content that is branded for you is awesome, because not only does it give your buyers a resource to find all of that information in one place, but it also drives all of it back to you. So if they like a particular property, if they're interested in it or have questions about it, all of that is going to go to you. You're going to get an email, and you're going to follow up with them, and you're going to continue down that process. Now, does that mean that they're going to buy a new construction home? Maybe not. Maybe they'll still buy a resale. But now the whole point of this is to add another layer to your business. So now that is another option. And right now in this market, being a seller's market, new construction is a great option, because I know I'm sure all of you have buyers that have put their search on hold because they're so frustrated with the process, writing so many offers or whatever the case may be. That's a different class, but adding this other layer gives them another option. The other important thing to find out is who your local builders are. So there really isn't like a one-stop shop of who all of the local builders are. It's just not there. The website that you can build, if you go to modelhomesearch.net, you'll see what that looks like. It has most of them on there, but I can tell you specifically, D.R. Horton is not on there. So if you are not familiar with where D.R. Horton's properties are, then you may miss out on selling a D.R. Horton house because it's not on that website. So as you're adding this to your business, you have to add that element of getting in the car and driving your market and finding the communities that are local to you and visiting them and building relationships with them. Again, if you go deeper dive with us and do the extensive new home construction, that's a resource that we will give you. But if I'm talking if you're building it organically, the best way to do that is to get in the car and drive. The one thing that builders are really, really good at is street sign marketing. They spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on billboards and flags and directional signs and all of that. So that is a great way to build that alongside your website. Okay. And so if you are not familiar with all of the builders that are in your area, the other thing is that this should be a regular occurrence for you, because they change all the time. Every week they're releasing new phases, or they've just bought another piece of land, or they're going to do a grand opening, or whatever the case may be. And if you're building relationships with the local agent, that agent meaning the sales agent for that builder. So for instance, if you go into D.R. Horton in, let's say, Beaumont, you go to there's one D.R. Horton community, Augusta, in Beaumont right now. If you walk into that sales office, that sales agent is only responsible for selling that product in that sales office. They have no interest in sharing any other locations for the same build for D.R. Horton or any other builders for that matter, because they don't get paid on them. They only get paid for whatever they sell in their community. So going into one and asking for all of the information for the entire Inland Empire seems like a really good resource, but it's not, because those individuals either don't know or don't care. They might, and they might be, might give you information, but as helpful as I am, when I was a new sales, a new home sales associate, when somebody would start asking me about pricing for Menifee product, and I was in, Beaumont, Calamasa, or if I was in Menifee and people were asking me about Temecula or whatever, I didn't know it, because I just know my product, what I'm responsible for and what I'm selling. I could have sat down and done the research, and in some cases I did, but it's not the most relevant information, because somebody could be writing up a contract right at that moment, and the price is going to go up 5, 10, 15,000 any minute. And so by the time the customer gets to the other community, the price could be totally different. So you have to go to all of them, is basically what I'm saying. You have to make this a weekly practice, where that's what you do for the day, is you visit your builders. You don't have to do it weekly. You can do it monthly in the beginning, whatever works for you. How it depends on what level of relationship you currently have with the local builders. Any questions on any of that? I just want to ask if a couple of people want to share, if there's anybody in here that has sold a new construction home in the last year as a resale agent.
I have.
Sorry.
This is Sachin.
Okay. How many? Just 1, 2? Is it a normal practice for you?
It's just, I'll sprinkle them in if I have a buyer, especially if in the location. So like I had one a couple months ago. They were looking in Lake Elsinore area.
Okay.
So looking at the resales, and then there was some new constructions there. So I sprinkled those in along with it. And once they saw the new builds, they were like, oh, wow, like I can get a brand new house. And I said, yeah, I go, there's options. I said, you just won't get it right away. But, they were able to wait. So that's the other thing too. So if I know if the client's able to, wait a couple months to get into a new house, then, if that's an option, it's easier for us. But yeah, and they get a brand new house too. So yeah.
Do you normally, when you have a buyer, do you normally add new construction homes into your search?
I do, as long as they're within that area. I mean, obviously Southern California, we have so many.
Yeah.
So I work Inland Empire as well.
Okay.
So for the most part, there's always new construction somewhere. And even if they're a little bit off, say someone's looking in Rancho Cucamonga, I'll show them the Northern Fontana houses. And, so it's, you just give them the option, I mean, obviously I want to be as well-rounded as possible. So.
Sure. Okay, perfect. And so do you regularly get updates, or how do you know what product to sell or take them to look at in those areas?
I don't really, I mean, unless I've seen the flags and things like that. So it wasn't really something that was part of it. That's just why I joined the class today.
Okay.
To just try to build that into part of my business. So
perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I'm on topic for you all, and I'm not, just, muttering random stuff that you guys already do. Systems are really, really important to me. CRM is really, really important to me. Setting goals and activities and logging those activities. That's how I stay sane in my personal life, in my business life, and creating that balance. And I want to share just a small tidbit with you guys. When I was a top producing agent previously, before I started productivity coaching, yes, I made great money. Yes, I was very successful, but I felt like I never had a break. I felt like I did not have balance because even though I could, make my schedule work so that I could be at my kids' awards assemblies, or volunteer in their class, or be on the PTA and plan the jogathon and all the stuff that I did, there were a lot of nights that I wasn't home for dinner. And there were some days where I would get home after my kids were already in bed, and I would only see them for an hour when I was getting them ready in the morning and taking them to school. And that, after, a couple years of that, I wore on me. And I had a wake up call. My now 14-year-old, when she was in first grade, she was diagnosed with high functioning autism. And I had to like pump the brakes and make her the priority so that I could figure out, what she needed and how to resource her. And that's when I went into productivity coaching, and I really mastered leveraging. And so everything that I do in my business now, it all comes down to leverage and systems. And as long as you have those activities in your business on a regular basis, then you have the time to shut it down, say no, and schedule. And there's some tools that I use, and I'll share with you throughout this process. But this website that I have here is a huge piece of that for the new construction, because it has all of those resources there for you. And so then your buyers, like, when you ask in your buyer's consultation, are you open to new constructions homes? 90% of the time, they're going to say, yeah, absolutely. And so then you send them this link, and they can go on and start searching for property there. Yes, Amber, you have a question?
Yeah, I was looking at the website. I was wondering, did you build that website, or is that something?
It's
Okay.
a free resource. I will send it to all of you in the group on Facebook. And it's a free resource that you guys can build your website on.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
I bought a domain name. So the modelhomesearch.net is a domain name that I bought and I use, but you don't have to do that. But the website is completely branded and completely free.
Okay, awesome. I do web design and advertising, so that's why I was curious where you were getting those listings and how that was populating.
It wasn't me, girl. I can guarantee you that. Leverage. Yes. Okay. So on to the next. See if it's gonna go. There we go. Okay. So it skipped ahead. Did it? Okay, so here are some questions to ask the builders as you're going through and building your relationships with them, with the local builders. And again, this is organic. I'm teaching you how to do this without any additional, cost. If you decide to take the more advanced class, then these questions will already be answered for you on a weekly basis. We update it, but the first question is, are your clients required to use their preferred lender? So everybody should know in the state of California that no builder, agent, buyer, seller, whatever can force a buyer to use a particular lender. That's all you don't have to get an attorney involved. You don't need to threaten the builder. They know that. But they like to stay in control. They just like me, they like to leverage, and they like to have systems in place. And one of those is using their preferred lender, because then they have a weekly call with that preferred lender and they get status updates on the regular, rather than having to chase down every individual buyer's lender when these builders in Riverside County, Richmond, closed 950 homes last year. That's a lot of lenders to have to chase down and make sure that they close. And that's not even including the ones that didn't close and fell out of escrow. So they like to leverage and use their preferred lender. So they offer an incentive for you to use that. Now, they do have the right to require the buyer to cross-qualify with the preferred lender. That is okay for them to do, but they cannot require the buyer to have to use that lender. Okay, so the incentives range. Again, all the builders are different. Some and they change all the time. So that's a question that is really important to ask, because even the sales associates in the sales offices that you're going to be building relationships with, they hate this process. It's annoying, like super annoying. So just know that they don't like to require you to do it as like cross qualify as much as your buyers don't like it and as much as you don't like it. So this is where it's important to partner with them and just help guide your buyers through it. It doesn't hurt their credit. As long as the application is done within 45 days of the, the other loan applications, it's not going to be a problem. And it gives your buyers options. Maybe the lender's incentive is really good, or the builder's incentive is really good, or maybe that, preferred lender has an extended lock program, or whatever it is. So it's an important question to ask so that you could prepare your buyers before you get there, that's going to be a prerequisite. Okay. Does the builder accept it contingencies? So I don't want to dive too deep into these conversations, because this will dive into more with our extended class, but contingencies are a big deal. Again, this can change on a regular basis, but I do have a resource that I will share that you can use to help bridge this gap. But some builders do still accept contingencies, and it does change on a daily basis. So for instance, I'm just going to give you one time frame of one builder's terms, because again, it changes on a regular basis. But they have, per community, they can have up to 3 contingencies at a time. Well, if one contingency of the 3 closes today, then yesterday they may have told you that they're not accepting contingencies, but now today or tomorrow they are. So when you're building your relationships, you're asking these questions on a regular basis, weekly, monthly, however often you're connecting with your local builders. You want to ask these questions because you want to be prepared with your buyers. You don't want to take them to show the property and then, oh, sorry, we can't accommodate. However, if you go deep, deeper dive with me, I will give you resources to overcome that in some instances. But having this conversation and understanding what the contingency requirements are. So again, I'm going to quote one in particular builder. It could vary and their policy could change at any time, but one particular builder, their contingency policy is you have to list, I'll sign a contract with you to buy this new construction home that's a dirt lot today. But in order for us to do that, you're going to have to provide me with a CMA showing what your property is worth. And you're going to have to provide me with a listing agreement showing that you're listing your property at that or less. If you can do that, I can submit it to the corporate office and then they will review it and they will approve it. If they approve it, then from that point, you have 7 days to get it active on the MLS and 60 days to sell it. Now, 60 days to sell it, not 60 days to close it. So if you market the property and, so on and so forth, again, it depends on the market. In this market, it's the seller's market. If you can't sell a home in 60 days, something's wrong. So, but you then have the option as the agent to set the contingency terms to, for the new buyer of your client's home. You can set that time frame for 60 days, 90 days, do a rent back. I mean, there's a lot of different options. And again, we can dive deeper in that another time, but though there are requirements that each builder is going to have. Some builders will say, absolutely not. We don't accept contingencies. Your property has to be completely sold and done in order for us to write up a contract with you. Well, we can get around that deeper dive. We know how to do that. In most cases, doesn't work for everybody, but in most cases. Okay. What is the time frame for completion? Whatever it is, it's probably not accurate, but that's what they're going to tell you. Right now, supply, demand, you know the drill. Things are not necessarily closing on time. Knock on wood. Most builders are hitting their marks at this point because they did start speccing properties, meaning they previously might have only started building something once it was sold, but some builders last year just started putting frames in the ground just so that they had product to sell because they didn't want the delays. So right now we're in a little bit of a funky market as far as availability. You know, production home sites are still higher percentage than spec. But completion time frame is still on average 4 to 6 months, just depending on what builder and what, you know, where you're at in the build process. And then what is their commission package? So again, this varies from time to time and from builder to builder. Sometimes the builders have, you know, they'll pay 2%. This is a common question, so let me just clear this all up for you all. A lot of builders pay a percentage on a dirt lot on the base price plus the lot premium, but not on options on a dirt lot. But if it's a spec home, then they'll give you the percentage off of the contract price, but they won't increase it if your buyer adds more options. Okay, so you cannot look at the price of a new construction home or a contract and say, oh, that price, okay, I'm getting 2% of that, I'm getting 3% of that, I'm getting 1% of that. It's never going to be the same. Now, in spec homes, usually it is. A lot of builders give a flat fee, especially if prices have gone up. So some builders just have a $10,000 broker co-op. Some pay a commission and then they'll have a like a incentive on top of that. So they'll have $1,000 bonus for any homes that are closing at this time frame, right? So then technically, if it doesn't close on time, then you wouldn't get that bonus. That's, you know, another conversation. But so you want to ask what that commission package is, because sometimes they won't tell you. Like when you're, you know, sales agent, new construction sales agent, and you are you're doing, you know, doing your thing, and then they tell you, oh, we have this incentive, we can you know, we can offer the brokers X amount of dollars, but they may not be forthcoming with that. You know, the sales agents are trained not to give that information up front. If they can get a sale without having to give that money away, that's a good thing, right? So make sure you ask. All right. Sorry, I'm going to speed up a little bit. The lender does matter. So I won't go too far into detail with this, but this is my preferred lender. He, Ignacio Maldini, he worked for William Lyon Mortgage. William Lyon was a builder in Southern California for many, many, many years, and he worked with them for almost a decade. He now owns his own brokerage, TrustLink Mortgage. So he has a ton of experience with new construction financing and can partner with you when you are doing your pre-qual. It's very important to have your buyers get a pre-approval with an outside lender prior to purchasing, prior to going to a new construction. Even if they're going to cross-qualify with the preferred lender, it's important for your buyer to be educated on what their affordability is, what all of that, because some of the builders, they only require a cross-qualification after your buyer's already signed a contract and after they've already sent their deposit. And if that lender doesn't approve them and they don't have a backup lender, then they will get their deposit back in most cases, but it could take up to 2 weeks to a month to get that money back. And that can be a problem when you're trying to buy another property. Okay, so it's really important to make sure that you have all of your buyers, no matter what, if you're showing them property, period, but specifically for new construction, make sure you get them pre-approved with an outside lender prior to purchase, okay? And you guys are welcome to reach out to Ignacio. He would love to help. Okay, so social media and emails. I'm not going to go super deep into this because I will dive deeper in our other class, but this is a content resource I want to give you. Like I told you, I love to leverage and simplify as much as possible. We have so many decisions to make in our business. Marketing content should not be one of them. specifically what picture to use on a ad or a post on social media. So we never post because we don't have any pictures or we don't know what to use. This coffee contacts.com, coffee and contracts is the company. You could use my coupon code XWing15 and they'll give you $15 off your first month. But it's a monthly subscription and you have access to all of their content. They have I did this presentation on there in about 15 minutes, not gonna lie, just putting it together because I already had the written content and they give me all of the fonts, the pictures, the layouts, everything, and I just copy and paste. It's flipping amazing. And all my social media posts, they have buyers presentations, listing presentations, branding, logos, you name it. So you guys can go to that website and register, use the coupon code and you get a discount on that. And they have new construction content. So it's already written for you. You just edit it and you can email it, you can post it on your social media, and the website that you can build, and I'll share that in the Facebook group, how to do that. You'll be able to post on your social media as well. So this is a huge resource for building content to become the new construction specialist in your area and in your business. The other thing is that builders have their own social media, so make sure you're following them and sharing any of their information. Specifically, I will tell you, Richmond has a blog, and most of their posts, richmondamericanhomes.com, their blog, most of their posts are written for resale agents for you to share on your social media platform. So take advantage of those. Make sure you're adding that into your social media content calendar. And then the other thing is you can create custom marketing plans with the builders, with your local builders. So build a relationship with, like you were saying in North Fontana, there's a huge master plan that builds there. Taylor Morrison is building there for sure. Go introduce yourself to the sales agents, let them know that you want to do an event with them or you want to market with them, do a video. A lot of the sales agents love to do video walkthroughs of their models. You can do live feed with them, they're already models. They're already decorated for you. They're everything's ready to go. You just turn on your camera and go live on your social media, and you can drive traffic through your social media to that particular model complex. But discuss it with the local sales agent. A lot of times the builder's marketing team will give them, raffle items. Sometimes they give away like iPads, they, gift cards, they have all kinds of stuff. You can do broker events where you host a broker event and invite all of the, your office or all the local brokers, and the builder will provide the food, and you guys can all go and tour new models or do videos, things like that. So those are great things to do. Just make sure that you check with the builders because they have all kinds of great ideas. So this isn't the full list. Okay, so I'm going to close out. I have no problem staying on, but I'm at my 1 hour mark at 12:05. So I just want to share with you, we are going to have a 6-week in-depth new construction training to go deeper into adding this accountability resources. So you don't have to go out and drive every builder. We'll be giving you updated list of what the incentives are and who's selling where and what's coming up and all of that, as well as interviewing local local specialists in the market that can give you, you could build relationships with. You get to meet them, they get to meet you, and you'll be on their priority list. So the goal is in that class that none of you would ever have to go with your buyer. That would be your first visit. So I want to help you guys establish relationships with the local builders that, you know, Daniel, you call up my friend in Menifee, Lisa, and say, hey, Lisa, I have a buyer. They're, you know, already pre-approved for this amount. Here's their pre-approval letter. I'll email it over to you. Can we schedule for them to, you know, come in at 11 o'clock on Saturday? And you schedule the appointment. They go in, you trust Lisa, Lisa trusts you, you guys sell a house. Okay, so that's the goal of the 6-week course that I have. And I can't do that with every single agent that I know. But if you're in that course, I can do that. And so if you want to do that, it's $595. It's free for all EXP agents. So if you're an EXP Realty agent, it's complimentary. If you want to become an EXP agent before the class starts, we're going to start in the first week of May. Then please reach out to me and I'd be happy to talk to you about that. If not, the class is $595 for all 6 weeks. And you also get one-on-one coaching with that. So if you are not going to register for that class, which you absolutely don't have to, I hope that this class has given you a ton of tasks and to-dos to build the new construction aspect into your business and add more value to that so that you can start adding at least one new home construction sale to your business each month. You want to start scheduling your content, please check out Coffee and Contracts. They have great content. They actually have your content schedule already done. And then I just want to close out with letting you know that the payday on a new construction home can be hectic, but I believe that if you build relationships through these activities in your new construction home business, that you should be able to avoid most of the mess that comes with that, because you'll have a relationship solid with your buyers and with the sales agents that you're selling with at the builders. All right, so that's it for content. You guys are welcome to log out.